Jamey Heath's deposition. And mind you, this is a woman questioning him. And in the video that you gave to your lawyers to give us, were you in the video? I am. And are you new to the... Just keep picturing, like, if I was giving birth and my husband just completely got naked. Everybody would be like, what are you doing? This is still Jamey Heath's deposition. And it looks like this is about, like, the oogling in the trailer. Love that we have to have a conversation about having a conversation. So the four people? Ange, I knew something was fishy about that Sony person. So she was there. They all four went to the trailer. Jamey knocked, heard a come in or a yes or some indicus. Don't they have to, like, it's like a thing, like, would think you would have to be let in. Ew, and how leading is this? So the opposite of what the three witnesses said. Trying to be tricky. He's like, you asked me what? And she goes, I just want to make sure I understand you. They all said no, and you heard yes. Is that correct? Pfft, what kind of trickery is that? Shapir's like, well, you just, yeah, let him answer. You let him describe his memory without interrupting him? She's like, well, I am asking questions. And she's like, can I just give you my answer? So then he knocked. Everybody was at the bottom of the steps, heard some indication to come in. He took a step up and saw that she was leaned back and probably was holding like a breastfeeding or nursing. And I said to her, oh, it looks like you're busy. I can come back. And as I turn around, she says, no, that's okay. You can come in, just look away. And I said, sure. Now, I never saw the front of her. I just saw this, which appeared to me familiar, a position of feeding or nursing. I'll tell you what, we can't escape corporate America with all these meetings about meetings, even on a movie set. He was trying to negotiate with her. Could we do it tomorrow? Because he was worried about turnaround time. We would lose money, which is an implication. We would lose hours, which is also, yeah, time is money, baby. She eventually said no. She had to have it tonight, and she would waive any sort of turnaround time and do it off the record. So then I left, walked down the stairs out of the makeup trailer where Ange, Justin, and Alex were, reported to them. She wants to do the meeting tonight. I tried to convince her to do it tomorrow, but she wants to do it tonight. She walked out 4 or 5 minutes later, greeted us, all said hello. We went into her trailer and had a discussion about what she wanted to meet with us. I wonder what that was about. I want to know what the meeting was about. Did they ask him? I don't know. When she came to the trailer for the meeting, did she say anything? So then she left her own makeup trailer and went to the other trailer to meet with all of them. And she didn't say anything. Did you ever learn that there was a different view? And he says he learned about it when he read it. Damn. Doing them dirty. So you didn't hear any concerns? And he goes, well, we had a conversation about it, but not that there was any concern. What does that mean? So like they talked about the oogling, but she didn't raise any concerns? I would think even just bringing it up would be a concern, but I'm also a woman and I don't ever get believed. So if you know, you know. Okay, so when you said we had a conversation about it 2 weeks later, who are you talking about? And he goes, there was a conversation about how she got COVID when we returned to set. And we had a morning conversation before we started working. And it jumps forward a few pages and it says, so if she wasn't saying she was uncomfortable, what was the understanding of why she brought up the video? And I think this is a very telling sentence because it is very much, I think, what I was gathering from some of the videos, right? It says, I can tell you what the interaction was and then what I inferred from it. So I think that there was a lot of nonverbal issues that Blake had that she maybe didn't bring up on site. I don't know whether she wasn't comfortable or she didn't feel like she could, but I think there was a lot of stuff that she probably should have spoken up about that she never did. And I think that they were probably all walking on eggshells around her because they didn't know how she was going to react to stuff. As she came back from having COVID, as her text said, she wanted to get back to work on a solid track. And she said to me that, Jamey, you know, when you walked up to me to show me the video with your wife, I thought you were showing me porn. What? I thought that's what you were showing me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then we moved on. She didn't say anything that it was uncomfortable. She was just telling me what she thought. And she recognized what she thought was that it was in fact what I had showed her. And then she moved on to the next subject. Hudson's kind of trying to trick him. I don't mean to dispute anybody's memory, okay? I can just tell you what had happened. That's not. Did she discuss the trailer incident? Which trailer incident at this point? She did bring it up, yeah. What did she say about it in your memory? She said again, She thought the video at first was porn, recognized that it wasn't because it wasn't. She also then said, you know, you came into the trailer a couple weeks and I asked you to look away. And at some point you made eye contact with me. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know I did that. And she says, I'm not saying you were trying to cop a look. I'm just saying that I had asked you to turn away and you had made eye contact. Oh, I'm so sorry. Did he make eye contact with you? That constitutes sexual harassment. I don't know how this is just so wild to me. If you were uncomfortable with somebody coming in, then just, I've breastfed both my kids. I don't, just say, like, give me 5, you know what I mean? Were they that pressed for time that nobody could wait? She couldn't throw a towel over her? Or just whatever? Like, you can't make eye contact with somebody while they're breastfeeding? That's weird. I looked down plenty of people. I had a baby, both sides. I whipped my boob out places. Like, but I get that that's not everybody's comfortability. But I think it continues to show me that I think there was a lot of things that she conservatively felt uncomfortable with, and that she was not used to being around different personality types. She was only used to being around people who thought similarly to the way that she thought. Maybe like that New York mindset versus California mindset. I don't know. That's kind of me reading between the lines and speculating a little bit here. But, you know, everybody has to, even in the same city, it's not even citywide, but even in the same family, somebody might have one viewpoint on how, like, breastfeeding in public, and your mom could look at you and go, you're showing off your goodies to all of the city. You need to stop, you know? And you're like, I'm literally feeding my child. So maybe it's just different viewpoints. I don't know. But if Blake Lively was uncomfortable, she should have said something, and she had the boundary of her trailer. She should have just been like, hey, get out, or no, don't come in. And maybe she's saying that she said no and they just forced their way in, but I highly doubt that based on everything I've read. So this is where in like the list, it says no more mention of Baldoni or Heath's pornography addiction. And he goes, I don't have a pornography addiction. So certainly she would have never read that. And I don't know what that refers to. So no, that wasn't discussed. Did she talk about Mr. Baldoni's during the meeting? And she goes, I believe she mentioned something about it. Okay, did she talk about wanting to neither her nor her employees hear about people's sex lives, including as it related to spouses or others? Yeesh, I wouldn't want to hear about anybody's sex life, but also, like, I get that this is a whole different topic of, like, was the theme of the book, right? And you've given me the full scope of your memory in the last 5 or 6. No, a lot of it was 5 or 6 hours. Oh my God. I heard Ryan was a nightmare, but this is a lot. When you say belittling, what do you mean by that? When she first started reading a couple of her things, and Justin was hearing this, taking this in. So like when she was accusing him, he was frozen by hearing this stuff. And instead of, but his reaction was that he was being a coward. And that, what do you do when a woman says this to you and you points these things out? You just stand up and you apologize and apologize. And Justin was just like, I didn't do this. And then he raised his voice and used some language and insinuated that he was not a good guy. That Mr. Baldoni was not a good guy. So this was the meeting in Blake's penthouse where Ryan Reynolds came in and just 5 or 6 hours? Ew, who has time for that? No, this wouldn't have been the penthouse. This would have been probably the 17-point list meeting, right? She had Ryan come in and she was reading through the 17 points after they came back. I guarantee you that's when this was. Jamie's saying like his reaction would be to apologize, but Justin's like, literally none of that happened. Good for him. Also, Ryan Reynolds sounds like he's got multiple personalities. Wow. I think it took too long with this one. Okay, on to the next.